Did you? Right, we're
Right.
recording. Oh,
That's a start.
that's interesting. Why is there a shift in audio in the room? Is that playing back to us a little bit? I heard. Did you hear that? There's a difference in the timbre.
No.
Oh, okay. It does feel like my voice is being sucked away from me a little bit into the microphone. That's how microphones work, isn't it? You can definitely hear that back a little bit.
But as you said, look. Nope. Can you hear it back?
It feels like you can hear it back a little bit. That's really odd.
The volume is totally down, so there's nothing happening.
Okay. So maybe my voice actually changes around a microphone.
Maybe.
It reminds me of when I was working in Abertay as a student advisor.
That's pretty cool.
Well, it wasn't. I've overdone that. It was like I'm trying to remember the exact.
Who were you
name.
advising?
There was folk
Don't
going
say
through
students.
matriculation. Students. There was all the new students going through matriculation, and they needed somebody to swan about, telling them to put their password in correctly. But no, sir, I've put it incorrectly. I'm from Spain, and I've put my password incorrectly. And I'm like, have you? Yeah. Well, it's not logging you in. I know, but I've put it incorrectly. It's the computer's fault. I said, that's quite unlikely. Have you tried it? Have you tried putting it in again? I put it in again. What's your password? Tippity tappity tippity tap. Oh, it seems to have worked. Oh, I don't know what's happened there. I know what's happened there. Anyway.
Keyboards are different in Spain. Different layout. It's like French laptops or keyboards. The layout's different.
It's a very exciting reason.
So if they were touch typing,
I mean, because we as staff there weren't aware at all that we had 8 different nationalities, and
no, you just thought,
we said to them,
University
be
was
really
for
clear,
Scots.
be really clear that what you put in.
nationalist bastard.
Nationalist, yeah.
Trying to blow away my smoke.
Trying to blow away your steam. this room's become a vape cloud. Alright. Anyway, I was in this room advising them. Put your password in right, advice. And I walked about and said something, and suddenly my voice transmitted really far. There was just a moment at which I went from normal within a kind of a nearby range sort of transmission of my voice to suddenly it was equally layered throughout the entire room. I thought I was having a stroke. like I moved left a meter. It wasn't like a microphone appeared in front of me, but it sounded like there was. And I had no idea. Like I stopped mid-sentence to somebody I was
it must
speaking
have been
to.
like an echo, an acoustic echo. So it must have been the place in where you were in the room
No,
where you were facing.
I thought it might have been right because I was thinking, you get those. Like the domes in cathedrals and stuff, like St. Paul's Cathedral, the whispering walls.
Yeah.
And you sit under one of them and somebody directly across can hear you because of the acoustics.
Then there's the louder ones, the wailing walls.
The stern argument wall of St. Peter's Basilica.
You know what the wailing wall is, right?
Is that not something that I've not heard about before?
It's well, I'm going to make a fool of myself because I don't actually know what it is, but it's where the Jews go to complain about taxes.
To complain about taxes!
No! It's where they go to pray and it's like is it the wall in Jerusalem or something? And there's this wall where it's called the Wailing Wall because they'll say their prayers at it, but they put in like written prayers as well stuffed into the walls, and like there are thousands and thousands of these things. It looks incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. That's why it's funny because that's called the Wailing Wall.
I mean, it's great. They're bringing in anti-Semitism within the first 5 minutes of it. Oh, you remember the Labour Party?
It's alright, this is a paid podcast, they're not going to pay for it. So, anyway.
This will only stay in if the rest was really bad.
Oh dear.
Right, so I was standing in this. I moved to the left a little bit, and suddenly my voice was equally transmitted, and it was brilliant. It felt like I had this power. Like, you read Harry Potter and they can, the wizard will cast a spell in the stadium and their voice will transmit really far. I felt like that. And I just thought to myself, I had this moment of, I couldn't believe what I could do now. I could go anywhere and evenly transmit my voice. It was an excellent superpower. It's the sort of superpower that's so good that you wouldn't have even thought of it if your pal when you were 12 came along and said, look, what superpower would you have?
Yeah.
You wouldn't say, even distribution of noise. and yet the power...
It's even distribution of noise, man.
Dulcet tone.
Dulcet, yes.
It's Dulcet. Run for your lives. There's no use escaping me.
Where is he? It feels like he's all around me. Oh, God.
So I just thought, what's happened to this is excellent. What a discovery of superpowers. I didn't get bit by a spider. I got pissed off by Spanish undergrad. But anyway, then I moved away again, and my voice crushingly went back to that of a mortal. And I didn't know what had happened. And then I learned later on, because I asked about, I was looking all around me, what's happened? What could be causing this?
Yeah, I know what it is. The room was mic'd up.
It was the feedback loops of hearing aid. You know when you stand at a bank teller and it says turn your hearing aid to
T.
To T.
Which must be really difficult
because it feeds it through speakers, microphone speakers, sends it back to you.
But how without wearing a hearing aid could that have affected you?
I still don't fully understand. But presumably it affects everyone. Like when you got to a bank window, a teller's window, and you say hello, and then the person speaks back to you, but it's not got glass holes and it's not got holes in the glass because you could spray poison gas through it or something. It just says, let off a pungent one if you're angry at them.
Yeah.
Instead, it's fully electronic size, so they speak back. You're like, "Hello, teller," and they go, "Hello."
Yeah.
Could I have $100 in exchange for my pounds, please? Oh, yes. I'm only £79 because of Brexit.
They're not taking your pounds and giving you less pounds. They might give you only $130.
No, I said, can I have $100? And it's £79.
Sorry.
I went, 79! Last year in May when I went there, it was like 56 or something for that amount. I just about cacked. Anyway, we've gone around in a bit of circle there, but
I can't tell if this is a true story now.
the hearing aid situation was the true story, right? The hearing aid situation, and it was incredible, and that brings us back to the very beginning of this podcast, in which I realised that I could hear myself in a different way.
Yes.
Because you put the microphone on, and now
give me a second while I turn off my hearing aid induction loop in my bedroom.
Well, listen,
the
only type of woman you're going to get back is a deaf one.
That is true. I do make terrible noises.
I didn't need to make the noise there. Right? Could have left that to your imagination. Just you could. It's like a horror movie, right? Not you in bed. But it's like a horror movie. It's best left in the imagination. The humanity. Well, you do set up a camera, though. That's,
yes.
Yeah. That's, I mean, standard. Just to play it back and make sure nothing untoward happened.
Wide angle lens for when your mum's round.
Fish. I'm looking at the. Listen, we don't have a sound producer here. It might amaze you. We've not got a guy behind a glass booth. If there was somebody behind a glass window, it would be the actual window of the house.
Yes.
And if that was the case,
bit of a drop.
Well, yeah, he wouldn't be producing any sound other than ah. But so we're completely unproduced, and we're recording off of two mics at the same time. One on my phone, and one on Shaun's laptop, and I'm having a look at the audio peaks as we go along.
And it is peaking.
It's peaking a couple of times, yeah.
Yeah.
We're having a bit of an issue. It's the laughing.
It is the
laughing. And I think when I put down my glass like this, that's an issue. So I've got to not do that.
Give it another go.
But that's normal, for it's on the. So we're gonna adjust the audio a little bit here. We probably shouldn't, but
one more tap.
That's normal though for a tap that close to it.
Yeah, we'll maybe just not. We'll maybe just not put down our glasses heavily.
Well, the only other place is your bed.
Don't put it on the bed. Use a coaster on the bed.
Why have you only got 2 pillows on a double bed? Do you not want 4?
No. Last night. Do you know what I did last night? I just I just bought two new pillows for and a duvet, because the last ones had gone. They get nasty.
They go that sort of
stiff. So
I was gonna say like beige.
yes, beige. But yeah, last night I cut the sides off of them and removed about half the stuffing material so that they're flatter.
Sorry, what?
Well, I sleep on my side, so I've got one arm underneath my head, supporting my head.
Like that?
So yeah. So
Sure,
with
hang on.
an
Sure.
arm.
So we are doing a radio.
Yes.
So describe this.
Well,
So how do you sleep? You on your side, fine.
On
Most
the
people
side.
sleep on their side.
with my arm under the pillow, and my head in the nook of the arm.
Can you show me that?
I can.
Oh, you don't need. You can lie down if you right. What? This is recording studio with the. Don't face away from me because I can't see you if you face away from me.
that's fair. So arm under there,
Right.
and like this.
That's pretty good.
It's a pretty standard.
It's pretty comfortable.
So that's why I
You
need
got, I've just Shaun took off his glasses to show me this, and I've just realised that on either side of Shaun's head, he's sort of shaved the stubble, both on his hair on the sides and in his beard, and it's just a white line where his glasses have been pressed tightly along the sides of his head.
No, that's tan. And tightness.
Is it tan?
It's tan, yeah, from my tan.
On the beach in your thick glasses.
Yeah, we'll put a picture on the website.
The website, aye. We'll put a
Do you
picture
not
up
have a
on
website yet?
What, co-
Alright, let's get right.
was that supposed to be
We'll get a website.
what we call it? Bet you wish this was porn.com?
You could say that for most websites.
Yeah, that's true. Crusty pillow? You two, wait, hang on, let me get back to this point. I'm when I get angry it peaks.
Yeah, it knows.
Right. Let me calm down and then get back to this point that you made earlier on. You took out half the stuff. You actually opened your pillow and took out half the stuff.
Back up.
You realise they sell pillows of varying stuffed.
Yes, but I couldn't find them in Tesco.
It's because you need to go to Europe because
Let's just fucking book a train to Europe
Train.
for pillows.
I mean, you can't take a train. Don't know why I'm laughing. No, let me just further that point.
I get it.
No, crucial. You ever been in Europe and just laid on any bed in Europe? They don't know how to do pillows.
They're pretty flat and hard.
No. Maybe some places.
We've been in different places in Europe.
Well, I suppose there's a variation, but in Europe, infallibly, especially if you go to somebody's house or like somebody actually lives there, it's not a hotel, it's set up for people to be visiting. They give you they give you pillows that are just like they're air. As soon as you lay down on them, you're just pressed against the mattress, but you just happen to have a wee bit of like air between. I don't know what's going on. I don't do the nook thing in the arm. I don't lie in the elbow because it actually feels like it would cripple me. I'm not sure how you deal with that, but what I do, very similar, on the side. Why are we talking about that? Right, on the side, arm closest to the bed, out straight in front of me.
Okay.
And arm furthest from the bed will tuck up underneath the pillow, so I'm lying on my hand. I'm sleeping in a recovery position.
Honestly, so many people sleep in a recovery position. Doctors, nurses, like a lot of them do it because it's just smarter. Really, like that. So many people have like sleep apnea now. Some people who have it genetically, and some people have it through being overweight.
Remember what sleep apnea is?
It's too much weight on the esophagus through the way you're lying. So if I was to lie on my back, and I'm a fairly heavy guy, I might snore heavily, and occasionally the throat might close, and not naturally reopen. So I would my body would still take care of me and force me awake or force me to breathe, but there would be a pause.
Right.
So we have a mutual friend who that happens to. The P dog, let's call him.
P Diddy.
P Diddy, yes. But a genetic thing. It's just something that happens to them. You know, it's not heavy.
Yeah.
So I don't know where we're getting on this, but yeah. So a lot of people who know what can happen while you're asleep, just sleep in a recovery position, because in general your circulatory system and respiratory system are under much less duress.
Right.
So, and especially if you were to throw up,
right,
you're on your side, so it's not going to choke you.
I mean,
you know, if you could have a fit.
I get that. I can.
Anything can happen while you're asleep. I just think is the point I'm trying to make. And you just don't know.
I mean, that's anything. I mean, wow. Be violently attacked, but if you're in the recovery position, they won't know.
Exactly.
I'm sitting there thinking, you know, I can understand with doctors or medical professionals or people that do know that they suffer from sleep apnea because they wake themselves up by trying to chainsaw a boar.
Mm-hmm.
But for me,
yes,
I just do that by default, and that raises the question of what I think I'm going to need to recover from.
No, it's you're doing it because you find it a natural, comfortable sleeping position, which is fine.
We've done a lot on sleeping position. I think we could avoid. I mean, unless we're going to make that a theme of the podcast, that we're going to discuss how people sleep. I think we should saunter off. We should traverse into explaining who we are.
Cool.
And why we're doing this podcast in the first place. Because there's a lot of podcasts out there now. It's been 10, 15 years since podcasts started being a thing. The internet is flush with them now. You get a lot of very, very famous and very, very successful podcasts, many of which are American and many of which are based around the theme of educating their listeners and may have an audience in mind of undergraduate students who are in school, university, or teenagers who are they're getting a broad education still and they're looking to specialise and they like to come to listen to these podcasts in areas they might want to specialise in, and they begin to understand a little bit more about their field and sort of an introductory course. It's like what people used to read introductory textbooks for, and now nobody does because it costs £40 to pick one up. But we're not looking to dive into that audience. We're not learned men. We don't come from a learned background. We don't know much about history. I don't know much about science. You don't know much. And so this is going to be more towards a sort of a questionably factual entertainment show.
Yes.
So would you like to introduce yourself, Shaun? Give some basics about you as a person and your role in this podcast.
Yes, well, I'm Shaun.
Got any nicknames?
Shanderson, popular one.
Yeah, Shaun Anderson. Shanderson.
Yes, used to be called Rambo back in school because I beat up a kid who irritated the shit out of me. It was so justified. The teacher had to pull me away and put me in a closet.
What age was the kid?
14.
It's not beating up a kid if you're also 14.
Alright.
Beating up a rival.
Beating up another person my age, yeah.
So you really kicked his ass? Because you don't get anything with
Rambo
if you lose. You blacked out.
Yeah.
Because he won.
No, I blacked out. I remember standing up and started hitting him. And he was sitting down. It was a crime of passion, if you will.
Was it over a lady?
No, well, no.
Well, there's more to this.
My mum worked in the school,
right,
which sucked. Because of
your
this
jokes
one kid in particular. So more jokes were very popular. And he,
so just for
2 years in French class, this kid would just hound me. And one day I just blacked out, started punching him, and the next thing I know I was getting pulled away by a teacher who was about 3.5 foot tall.
This was in French class?
Yeah.
So he was like,
Sacre bleu.
I was trying to run by a joke there.
Oh, why can you not all leave me at mes amis?
You ate my paintings?
Stop
channeling Dylan Moran there. No, the guy's like, why are you fighting? Do you eat my painting?
Yeah. Anyway, so yes, Rambo, Hamster Boy.
Like a lead balloon.
That was one. And
Hamster Boy?
Yeah.
Right, hang on. Right, so you, Shaun.
Yes.
Shanderson because your name's Shaun Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
Rambo because you had a rage blackout and beat up a kid in French class. Hamster Boy because...
Big cheeks.
Do you store things in them?
Used to, for the winter.
Yeah?
Yep.
What kind of thing?
Christmas presents. So I was trying to think of wintry things and I don't like nuts, so...
So you never stored nuts in your cheeks?
No. Oh, no.
Not any nuts for the winter? Not
No,
for
I
like a
haven't.
long haul flight? Or...
Nah, I have a sack for those.
So does Santa.
He sees you when you're sleeping.
Okay, so...
So yeah, those are the nicknames. On a personal note, or a professional note, I'm a IT and facilities officer who tidies things, makes things,
Right, so you know
works
to make
with electricity, computers,
sort of handy
for a
person
science
to
centre.
have around, both in
Yes.
the real world and the electronic.
Yes,
Can-
yes. Yes, and I know James, the gentleman co-authoring this podcast.
Do you author a podcast? Yes, by writing it.
Our names are on it. That's written. Sorry.
I've not written anything yet. I'm not putting my name to anything until we've seen how this goes out. We'll do a pilot first.
Yes. Oh, and I'm a Highlander. I'm from the Highlands.
Shaun is from a place called Allness. We may include on our website. We may include a clip from a sort of pilot we did where we recorded a conversation we had when I came to visit Shaun on a bit of a journey I was having across the UK to get a bit of a sight of the whole place, and we had a discussion about his hometown and some of the history, and we may repeat that discussion and have a little thought of it. But I learned a few things, some interesting things about the Highlands where Shaun's from, and should I do a bit of introduction now?
Please do.
Yeah. So quite very good. Shaun was telling me earlier on that he met a very English chap, very English.
Yes,
And,
my neighbour.
His name.
Yeah. I was asked. Well, I was sounded the scummiest of the two of anyone who ever lived, because there was a drain that during some bad rains a couple of weeks ago, some sewage came out of it. So I just saw this guy, first time I'd ever seen him in my life, as I was looking out the window because I could hear someone doing something.
You don't often see somebody's waist before you meet them.
Yeah, no. I had to judge him. A lot of fibre.
Suppose it's from all the tea.
Yeah. So I said to him, "Are they cleaning that drain out down there?" In the general Chukterish Dundonian Highlands mix, and he goes, "Yes, I believe so." And I was like, "Oh, grand." And he's just, very good. And then went inside. Well, I'm sort of aghast.
A conversation being ended with very good.
Yeah,
It's
it was
very
brilliant.
It's good, yeah.
I was stunned.
It's very good. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, sorry, my apologies. So, on to James Monroe.
Right, so James Monroe, named after the clan, the not so famous clan. It's not wide, but the one notable feature of the Monroe clan is that it used to own Allness and the surrounding lands where Shaun is from, which is an excellent thing to bring up at dinner parties or when we're both trying to attract the same women. I say, will I own
family.
him?
Yes.
It's also, well, it shares a name with the mountains above 3,000 feet in Scotland. I don't think there's any Munros south of Scotland. I think they have to be Scottish. There's some others that would count as Munros if they were, but they're Scottish mountains. There's 200 and change, and that has nothing to do with me. I've climbed one or two, and it goes well to describing who I am, really, the type of person I am. When my parents used to take me to climb up Munros, they're fond hikers and scramblers and hill climbers, and they used to take me up, and we would get to what I thought as a young boy was the top, the summit. But once you reached that point, you realised that it wasn't, because you could see another, several miles in front of you to what might be the actual summit, or might be another false summit, as they're called. And I used to kind of, as children do, moan ungrateful louts. To the point where those are now called Jameses in my family. When they reach a false summit. Oh, we've got another James. So, it makes me wonder what they think of my birth. They thought I was a summit and turned out to be less than halfway there.
Mr. and Mrs. Monroe, here is your chap. Oh.
That's a James. Smaller than I would have hoped. He's a boy, is he?
Quite literally the story of his life.
Anyway. No, it's good. So I'm James Monroe. I come from a place called Dunfermline, which is, I think, maybe the largest town, one of the larger towns in the region of Fife in East Scotland, in the southern belt. And Fife isn't wonderfully well regarded in the rest of Scotland because it's quite what we would call a Neddy place. So we have lots of what we call Neds, and everyone in the world has Neds. They just have a different accent. So in England there'll be chavs, in Australia they're bogans, in America they're Americans. We've got a few of them, but Fife breeds a few of them. And but Fife is a wonderful place to grow up and begin. It's like the beginning level to life, where it's not the most dramatic scenery, it's not the most challenging, there's not the most opportunities, but it's a great place to get an introduction to everything and then move off and be amazed at the rest of the world, because Fife in comparison is quite low key. It's like the Shire, you know, the Shire and the Hobbit. So I'm from there, and my professional background is that of psychology. So I tried for as long as possible to be a professional student for my whole life, but I'm a psychology PhD, which makes me perfectly qualified to talk for a long time without actually checking any of my facts or indeed making any sense, but hopefully guiding you to a peaceful slumber or a better place in your life, and occasionally trying to channel Fraser Crane as a radio. Fraser Crane from Frasier, the popular morning TV show Frasier sitcom with Niles Crane and Daphne,
I know of
English
it.
cleaner.
Very highbrow.
Well, I'm a highbrow kind of guy.
Seinfeld.
I'm a one-brow kind of guy. I've got a bit of a linkage. No, he was a radio psychiatrist.
Oh.
And it was I'm by no means a psychiatrist.
I know the radio's feeling
to be.
better.
Agony. Brilliant though. So he would speak on the radio to Seattle audiences and get calls in, and somebody would say, like, here's my American accent, you ready? Hey Frasier. Hey Frasier. I'm a big fan. I've been trying to get on here all night.
So I said it was a morning show.
Frasier, no, it's a morning show in the UK.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a morning radio
Frasier,
show.
I'm having some trouble with my marriage. Well, what seems to be the problem? No, he's speaking this kind of
he was English.
No. I was just trying to do a different American accent. What seems to be the... I can't do it. I can't do it. It's just English again.
What seems to be the problem,
What seems to be the trouble? More howdy! Don't know where he was from. Anyway, Kelsey Grammer, that guy. I can do the theme song. I can do the theme song in his voice, but I can't. I'm not singing on radio. I'll try and transfer the singing into his voice. Everybody needs good Frasier. Of course, that signaled that it was time for us to change segment. So the reason we mentioned where we're from, Shaun from the Highlands and Allness and me from Fife, is because you may notice that those are two places where nothing is ever produced in, despite the fact we all have decent internet and we're all connected to the media around the world. We see a lot of stuff made in London, we see a lot of stuff made in New York. If there's a superhero, it's New York. If there's a drama, it's a big city, or it's the OC. No, it's the OC. Think of the OC, you know?
Differentiating, like, every other drama from the OC.
Okay, California.
California.
Is Bel Air in California?
Here we can. Is that?
Yeah, that was one.
Dawson's
that was
Creek.
good. No, that wasn't. Dawson's Creek is the one that. Oh no, what was Dawson's Creek?
What's
the theme song for that?
I don't know. Family Guy did a riff on it. I don't want to wait for my lunch to get colder. I want to eat it down.
Sure, that's like Weird Al level. Anyway,
yeah.
Did you just do a Peter Griffin accent?
I was Peter Griffin saying it.
Shaun looks a bit like Peter Griffin.
Oh, dick.
Anyway, right. So no media is produced in Fife or Allness or the Highlands. Very little. You occasionally get some sort of you get a sort of Edinburgh accented man that will travel from around the coasts or the hills. Right? They'll be like, the coasts of Scotland are well, they're nice, but you wouldn't go swimming off them. That kind of accent, And they'll be like, oh, we're in the mountains, and this is a beautiful mountain, and look, that's where glaciers were. But you don't see a lot of sort of social media. You don't see a lot of people discussing. You don't hear this accent on anything very much, really.
No.
Or either of these accents.
No, very often.
If you're producing something, somebody might go, hey, I'm from Scotland, which is fine. I'm happy to see a bit of that, because there's not a lot of it either. But we want to make a show that it's from a particular very low population area. These places which aren't well represented, and we want to show you and go through a bit of what life is like, and how we see the rest of the world, and how they go through some local news, and overwhelmingly the main purpose of this is to just provide a different perspective on the world that hopefully will give you a couple laughs and bring you a bit of peace, if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for anything else, well,
get educated elsewhere.
Yeah, there will be officially no education.
Yeah.
Will there be any education?
There will be some loose education, I would definitely fact check it first.
Yeah, I mean,
before telling your friends.
If the mountains of education are podcasts like what's another podcast like Nerdcast or Veritaserum, all these podcasts from like Smarter Every Day, Kurzgat, all these YouTube people that do an excellent job of conveying information. If they're in the mountains, we're those little gravelly, steep uphill bits, with all the pebbles where you try and get a good footing and you slide down.
I believe that's called scree.
Scree. We just literally gave you some loose knowledge.
Yeah, loose like the scree.
We're the scree of podcasts, and we'd love if you tuned into future episodes, and if you enjoyed this pilot, what we would really like, is if you could give us all your money.
No, we did not discuss talking about money for this.
I think all money. All of their money.
All of it.
I think it's fair.
Right, if we can get Donald Trump as a fan,
I haven't said
we'll have a hope in hell.
I haven't said.
No, we're not going to ask you for money.
I didn't ask them. Just said if you liked it, we would really like. It's not asking. We would like if they gave us all their money. It'd be great. If they just went, I think I'll just give them all my money. Just totally anonymous, so we don't feel any connection to them.
Fair enough. If you're 90,
just raw money.
Chuck us in your will.
I think 90-year-olds would like to listen to this.
Yeah.
Because 90-year-olds, from anywhere in the world, they've lived a life in which they've gone through their struggles in their own country. Think of like an American.
What do you mean, just struggles? There's a lot of joy in life.
Right, but the 90-year-olds that are likely to give us all their money.
Yes.
Are not the ones that have had a joyous life. They've had a tumultuous life, right?
So
they've gotten until 90 without finding a cause.
What you basically said is our target market for this podcast are 90-year-old miserable bastards.
Why did I say women? I was imagining a 90-year-old woman in America. That's why I said women. I was imagining a 90-year-old woman in America, right?
Okay.
Have you ever seen the it's a movie about it was filmed with the same actual people, not just the actors, right? So it became famous a few years ago when it came out. It wasn't famous before it came out. But they filmed for, 20 years, 18 years or something. They filmed the boy when he was born and when he was just a wee boy. And the same boy and family had the same kind of basic cast, right? And until he was 18 or 21 or something, and he went off to college. And one of the scenes towards the end was the mother saying goodbye to him as he went off to college, and he was like, "Oh, let me get some of my stuff." And the mum throughout hadn't had a very good life. She'd put a lot of effort into raising the son, and the dad left, and she had an abusive boyfriend and stuff. So when he was leaving, it felt like that was her time over, and it was his time.
Yep.
It was quite a touching moment. I think watching that as an adult hit me a lot more than if I'd watched it as a university age person. Because I was a bit more sympathetic, and as I grow older and maybe have children, I'll become even more sympathetic towards her at that point. But I'm referencing that because I can imagine she was like 50s. Now imagine that same woman carries on until about 90, right? So she's had like lots of joy, but a lot of I feel like time's passed. She's had 40 years of seeing the world grow increasingly further away from her understanding. She lives in this small Midwestern town. I'm assuming, I can't remember where she was from, but she lives somewhere that suburbia, and she grows old and she can move out less, and she catches sight of a podcast from two young folk from across the world, somewhere that's still in civilization. It's not some place she's never heard of. It's Scotland. She's heard of Scotland, but she's hearing about this place, this small town in Highlands and this small town in Fife. She might not have ever heard those names before, and they're hearing their perspective on the world, and she thinks, it's good to see that no matter what my problems are, there's people living such a vastly, completely different life, which I want to fund.
Fund. God, that sounds so bad.
So how long have we been going for, Shanderson?
I would say roughly 36 minutes, 30 seconds.
Yeah. Why is my one at 37?
You started earlier.
Oh, I don't know if I did. I think time dilation has occurred.
Don't turn around.
Okay, are you getting changed?
I'm changing my t-shirt.
Why are you changing your t-shirt midway through a podcast?
Because I spelt we just tried a really shitey wee Mexican place.
I actually spilled some of myself as well.
Mexican takeaway, and it stinks. It was all drippy and strange, and it went on my t-shirt.
It wasn't great, was it?
Nah, I wasn't impressed. Not for £18.
£18?
Yeah.
Blame me. Well, I don't know. Do we want to? Shall we aim for this to be an hour? Is that our?
I think an hour is quite good.
Yeah, I think if we run out of steam much before an hour, I think that's maybe saying something.
Well, to be fair, we're doing our introduction right now.
We're still in the intro. Yeah.
Introductory podcast, so we're good.
It's the intro podcast, so we're thinking. I don't know. What do you think? What sort of stuff, Shaun, are we gonna go through on this podcast? I mentioned maybe a bit of news.
Yeah, I think what I would like to do is bring up the website of the newspaper in our very, very localized regions, and just get an idea of what their lives are like, what their lives are like. What's actually happening.
Something really local.
Yeah,
but
totally local. I'm not talking about bad news. I'm not talking about places getting robbed. I'm talking about just garden variety people and what's happening in their lives.
We've got to try and avoid, the local school. A prefect from the local school.
You have to avoid the local school. But
we don't. Nice. We don't want to. We got to be careful not to just hit upon the really dull stuff.
Yeah, totally.
So maybe with these episodes we should scope out a few good articles.
Well, there's bound to be something interesting. It's like anything. Anyone's life is interesting when they tell you something about it. As long as it's something that's, if I said to you, I've had a burger, you would think that was really boring. But if I said to you,
what type of burger?
A regular burger.
Just a regular burger.
Just a totally boring regular burger.
What type of
you wouldn't find that interesting because you've probably had.
Hold on. I'm interested.
In your time. In fact, I can tell you have. But
you just changed your t-shirt because you dripped Mexican all down.
Oh yeah, judge not lest you be judged. But what I'm saying is, if we're not looking for boring things like that. But if I said to you something interesting that I'd done today, which
what have you done that's interesting?
What have I done today? Today, I found a Sony mini disc player as I was cleaning out this really old, irritating cupboard. It's been a pet peeve of mine for about 1.5 years since I've worked at this place.
Okay.
This was day 4 of cleaning out this cupboard. I'm not even joking. It was ridiculous.
You found a mini disc player.
A mini disc player and all these loads of mini discs.
So what's that,
mini
like
discs.
15 years ago, 20 years ago?
Yeah, it's about 15 years old.
15 years
It's
old.
mad. That's it. That's something
That's
slightly
good.
interesting. It's a blast from the past. It's something interesting I did. Or I wired a new LED plug socket for a light box. It's something that I never thought I would do after getting a degree in computer games. Wiring something.
Sounds like you've taken a different path than you would have expected. Like,
Yeah, it's
bits and pieces.
So
It's good.
that's what I mean.
Uplifting, positive news.
Yeah, something just a bit different.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
a lot of people who listen to this have never heard of Sony mini discs.
The problem is, right, for us it's going to be Sony mini discs. That's right. I don't know. Are we allowed to broadcast to people who've never heard of mini discs before? Because most people that listen to podcasts, let's face it, are going to be the Reddit crowd. Which I didn't mean to say with such visceral disdain. I use Reddit far too often. I just refuse to post because then
You should always post.
well, you should.
You should always post comments at least.
No, I disagree.
Well, I don't know. I like it. I
don't have anything to say. Sorry, we're going off. I don't want to make this about Reddit at all. I'm actually disappointed that I mentioned it because this is actually something I want to do in order to produce.
Yes.
Because I do very little production. I do
Okay.
I do a lot of consuming.
Right.
I consume the things off of Reddit.
Right.
I consume burgers as well. I do a lot of.
I do a lot of consumption. Like Caligula. Bring me something to consume.
I'm the Sarlacc of. Just no, but I consume a lot of media, and I don't produce a lot of media, and it's always been a pet peeve. You mentioned that phrase earlier on. I can't get it in my head, but it's been a pet peeve of mine to just eat away at whatever other people make and never do anything myself.
Yeah, I can totally get that.
So I've tried to get around that in lots of different ways, and I've produced a few bits here and there. But kids are growing up and they grow up making GIFs at high school, and they do. The reason I mentioned the Reddit crowd was what I actually meant was the sort of computer science crowd. Everyone online has quite a large grasp of computer science compared to what I did. I'm a psychologist, so by nature we're pretty useless at anything. But lost my train of thought. Podcast. So most likely people are going to listen to this are going to be young people who do a lot of producing of media.
And the 90-year-olds who want to give us a lot of money.
And the 90-year-old women, the sad 90-year-old women that want to fund us.
We'll put an ad out in a crossword.
I've fallen. Help me out here. So why was I mentioning that it would be young people that produce a lot of media?
Because you thought that they would have heard of.
They would have heard of Sony Mini Disc. Thank you. So it might be the case where that sort of thing, but I think we're going to find what we do normal because it's our life. It'll be hard for us to identify what other people would find less common.
Yeah, and that's what's slightly interesting about at least trying to find something different and something alien to us in local newspapers.
Yeah.
You're looking
It
for
doesn't
someone else's
Yeah.
experience.
It's going to be normal to
just a bit
us.
different. Yeah.
To some extent.
Yeah, to some extent.
And we're hoping, isn't it? None of this is going to be mad. We're all from the West. Well, we're not, but a lot of the people that are going to listen to this will have had similar upbringings in many cases.
Yeah.
A lot of the same foods or genre of food. We live very similar sedate lifestyles, and we're likely to grow up and work in an office or do something with computers or what. It's going to be similar in that sense, but there'll be different things. So. Yeah, that's going to be the focus. In future episodes, where it'll be a bit more normal, we're going to crack on some news articles and try and give you a feel for what life is like around here and the conversations between Shaun and myself.
Yeah.
I was hoping maybe you could describe a little bit about your everyday life in Allness.
everyday life and all nice.
Yeah. What's the town like? What's the place like?
Well, I was quite fortunate in that I kind of grew up on the outskirts of town, in a very nice house, which was quite out of the way of everything else. So you generally felt like you were just in the country, and there were 4 houses on our little, you couldn't even call it a street really, on our little section outside of town. So 4 houses. Unfortunately, next door there was a couple of same age kids growing up as us. So I don't know. I suppose you need to pick a time of my life
period
to discuss what life was like there.
It's just I'm really interested in the way you described that your house was outside of town and out of the way, because your town itself.
Oh yeah, it's massively out of the way. So our house was in the back end of the town, which was in the back end of nowhere.
What do you think makes it different from a town in Australia, or a town in the US, or a town in sort of Little England? What's the difference?
That is a tricky one.
Given that the theme of our podcast is what makes us different from all these other places.
Yeah.
And your response
main
is,
question. No answer.
Putting you on the spot.
Um,
See, this is live. We've got no prepped answer. I'll talk you through while Shaun thinks of this. We're doing a very live podcast, and we haven't this episode scripted anything. So you can tell there's a lot of pauses and there's a lot of meandering in conversations, and I kind of hope this is how it goes forward, because my imagination for the person listening to this, young single in my area, you be lying a little. I want something soothing to get to sleep, and
right before James gets to sleep, I guess what I found, looking back now, to be the biggest element of my childhood is the promise of growing up and moving away from the small town.
okay.
So I've always had a massively overactive imagination. Read books from I was 10 or so.
Favorite book?
Could read a book a day. Favourite book, because it got me into reading, Artemis Fowl.
Oh wow, okay. Good book, good choice of that.
Yeah. So I don't know whether it's because I had an overactive imagination or whether I grew up in a really small town, but I always knew that I was going to move away.
Okay.
It was just
wasn't an option to stay.
No, it was par for the course. And because I always knew that I was moving away, maybe my imagination ran wild, or maybe because I knew I was in such a small town and the world was such a massive place, there was this promise. There was this I don't know. Yeah,
It was a vision.
Promise
there was new stuff.
Something really exciting and really big that I would just go and do.
Okay. Brilliant. So
yeah,
that separates you from other towns.
I guess that's what separates us from other towns.
If you grew up in a city,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't have the same thing.
I don't think so.
Because you wouldn't go, wow, out there for me is lots of small villages.
Because all the opportunity that I could ever want or dream of would be in that city.
Yeah.
Like, if I grew up in New York, brilliant, I could work at a film studio, I could write for a newspaper, I could fly helicopters for tourists.
It's endless.
It's endless.
I like that.
But you don't have that in the really small community. And I think, if you grow up with folks who encourage you to learn and to work hard, and they instill that work ethic in you, then you know from a fairly young age that there's no option but to leave and go and find something for you.
Grew up in your community.
Full mix. deprived. Allness is a fairly high, has a fairly high level of deprivation.
Huh.
So in terms of poor communities, kids who don't have a great education.
What kind of industries do the adults, and not the founders, but the last couple of generations in Allness, what kind of industries would they partake in?
Construction.
Construction sort of work.
Generally, it's construction, or
What
sort of factory-based manufacturing.
Okay, manufacturing and stuff. So what kind of construction? I asked this because if I'm going to give the same answer about my hometown, it would be mining.
Right.
The grandparents were miners, and farmers.
Yep.
There was a lot of coal, and it was the tail end of the Industrial Revolution. A lot of coal mining was done very, very heavily.
Right.
Before the Thatcher days, and before the mines kind of ran out of coal by that point.
Yeah.
So I'm just the basis to all the people that I grew up around were my parents' generation were the children of miners, some of which were still miners, but most of them were the children of miners, and the grandparents were miners, and that hardened set. I mean, it influences the entire construction of the society. The buildings are designed around housing many miners,
So there's small compact houses.
Yeah, small compact houses, and you have lots of sort of council houses built. And I remember we were lucky enough to have access to the British film industry, the BFI, where they have a database of ye olde movies. And one of the movies was the town planners that had made a sort of old-fashioned drama in 1947, I think.
Okay.
It was after the wars, and they were planning on because there was this drive for social housing and a much more kind of socialist government in a sense. They were working out how they would plan to increase the size of the roads and build more houses around the good places, and shops and utilities around these increasing town size. And so a lot of my grandparents' generation were there as my town had a big shift in its focus of what the town was going to be like.
Cool.
So all these buildings, like the house I grew up in, is almost 200 years old.
Wow.
Which is almost as old as America, as a nation.
Yeah.
And that used to be the furthest east end of the town. Where
okay.
Everything, the houses on the other side of the street look different because they were built. You just look out in fields,
Yeah.
And so a lot of the town is a very, very old place. There's a lot of new development now as people want to commute into Edinburgh across the bridges. I mean, I don't know if any of this is interesting. It's difficult, but the reason I'm bringing it up is to give anyone a bit of a vision of what it's like here. We're not a new town. Dunfermline's been there. Well, Dunfermline used to be the capital of Scotland in the 12th century, where there was alliances between France and Scotland made that if England ever attacked one of them, the other would come to the aid, called the Old Alliance, and Ireland as well. Signed by the royalty in what was King Malcolm's Tower at the time.
Wow.
So that this was 12th century, this was 1100s. The town's been around long before then because otherwise it wouldn't be the seat of power, So when you think about how long the history is, and you have rubble from these ruins, Dunfermline, the name itself is believed to be Gaelic for, forgive me for this, I'll probably get it wrong, but fort on a hill near the stream.
Okay.
Dunfermline or something.
Okay.
It translates to that. But you can have a look yourself, listeners. I'm just a young, have only been around for a couple of decades out of what is almost a millennia, well, more than a millennia history, more or less.
Yeah.
That's the kind of, that's the perspective you're getting on life. Is Allness that old? How old's Allness?
I'm not sure. I mean, it must have spawned, I guess, from as a neighbouring town of sort of Inverness.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Sort of like overflow parking.
Yeah. Yeah. Park the shite cars. Yeah. But no, the town's only 5,000 people, whereas Dunfermline's probably...
There's 5,000 people in Allness?
Yeah.
I mean, I cycled near it. I got the feeling it was about 5.
What, the 5 you met?
The 5 people I can independently verify definitely lived there. There wasn't that many more houses.
Like I said, there's 4 houses. That's where I live.
Aye, on average 1.1. No, that's wrong. 1.25 per house.
I don't know. I don't do maths.
So I'm noting that we're 55 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
We've sort of tried to give a gist of the beginnings of our towns, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the general. I think we can come back to that and give a bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's moved from funny childish jokes to quite sensible discussion of our hometown, and I think we've got a bit of realm for that. We can switch between, you know, you've got a small willy, and you know, here's the millennia-year-old history of my town. But it's not an educational show. We're just wanting you to get a feel for who we are. And the next time we sit together and chat about this, I think probably a good message to leave this on is something we haven't discussed up until this point, is that we're 2 old pals. We became friends a while ago, you know.
Yeah.
Several years ago, you know, and we don't see each other that often. I've been down in London for the past 5 years. I'm working out where to stay now, and Shaun's been back and forth between Allness and Dundee, and these are far enough apart that you can't just knock round at somebody's house and get in and drop down and have a discussion. So we want to meet up. We wanted to, you know, as friends, work on this project where we can get a wee, you know, personal bit of a fun podcast, maybe get a few listeners, and see where it goes. So this is a labour of friendship and fun, really. It doesn't need to go anywhere at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the last few minutes, got anything you'd like to say?
Well, you do say it doesn't need to go anywhere, but if some 90-year-old women do want to give us all their money, bash on. No, this is just a bit of a creative project where we can have a bit of a laugh and a few heartfelt moments as well.
Yeah.
And just have a bit of creative fun, really.
You know, we'll leave this until after we've switched off the mic here, but it'd be quite nice for people to stay blind to my real intent as DulcetMan, where I want to evenly distribute my voice across the entire world via a popular podcast.
So you're gonna get like everyone who owns a smartphone to become listeners to the show, and then play the podcast at the same time on the same
across
day,
the world.
And you hope that you'll just hear yourself ringing out.
I could walk anywhere. That's it. It's been fun. I've been James Monroe, Dr. James Monroe.
All right, okay.
And he's been Mr. Shaun Anderson.
Yep, just commoner.
MBE. No, it's been a lot of fun, and we hope you enjoyed listening to this. It's been great fun to just have a conversation for an hour with a friend.
Yeah.
And we'll probably make another couple.
Well, future shows will more than likely be done through something like Skype or something that we can chat without being next to each other, because we do live quite far away from each other.
Yeah, it'll be an earphones and mic job, and we'll edit the feature, the footage together, and footage. What do you call what's visual footage?
Visual footage.
Sorry, audio footage.
Audio footage, just
Earage. Earage.
Just an audio recording, isn't it?
Well, we'll edit the footage. We'll edit the soundage.
The rec.
Edit the rec.
Nah, let's not call it a rec at this stage. Maybe by podcast 5.
That'll be a wreck. All right, that's been an hour. We'll call it quits.
We'll sign off for now.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Have just
pleasant afternoon or evening wherever you are.
Just have time.
Or even morning.
DulcetMan.
Tally ho.